Hey guys, I'm Davey Wavey, creator of the gay erotic website Himeros.tv. And today we are joined by sex and intimacy coach Finn Deerhart and gay porn star Clark Lewis. And today
Hello.
we are talking about denial and chastity belts and submission because he who controls the key to your belt controls your cock. So please, sir, let's get started. Himeros Live is brought to you by Himeros.tv. We are in the midst of our Fuck Yourself sale in honor of Valentine's Day. And when we say fuck yourself, we mean it in the most empowering, pleasurable, and exciting way possible. Love yourself, treat yourself, pleasure yourself, and above everything else, fuck yourself good, fuck yourself right. And the more fucks you give yourself, the more fucks you'll have to give others. And who doesn't need more fucks to give? Anyway, there's an exclusive deal. Get 3 months of Himeros.tv free when you buy a 3-month membership. That's 6 months total at just $12.48 per month, and even cheaper than our yearly membership. Best of all, when you join through this exclusive offer, you'll lock in the rate for as long as you'd like. Get 3 months free at himeros.tv/love. That's HIMEROS.tv/love. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey.
Hey.
Oh my God, I've been waiting.
This is like our reunion tour.
How many times did you say fuck in that very short period? I was trying to count along.
Well, I try to get it in at least 10 times in the first 2 minutes of the podcast. Yeah.
It's enough to get an R rating. It's not PG-13.
Oh, definitely not, no.
I feel like we haven't seen each other, since November?
Oh, God.
I haven't seen you since November.
Yeah, the three of us in the same kind of, internet space, not really real physical space, but...
Yeah, it must have been November, Jesus.
And you're wearing civilian clothes and not like medieval clothing this time around.
I look far more modern, I guess is the term.
So for those of you listening at home, Clark joined us a few months ago on episode 82, if I remember correctly, which we recorded live in France. And I'm curious, Clark, have you seen any of the videos that we've filmed in France? I think I've sent a few over, right?
Yes, so I've seen Denial, of course, and then Banquet, which is amazing. I'm so excited for that to go out.
Oh, and not to be confused with The Banquet, which is another video on Himeros TV. What was it's called? Under the Table, right?
Under the Table, yes.
Under the Table.
I got confused with Banquet. Under the Table and Invocation.
Yeah,
I've seen that as well.
Invocation.
Yeah. Invocation, yes.
We have a lot of food themed. It's a common occurrence, food in our videos. So you know that Finn and I are fat kids at heart.
Yes.
I saw the way you ate cake. It was amazing.
There's a really good picture. Finn, would you care if I post that picture of us?
You can totally post it.
Yeah. There's this really funny picture. I would text it to you, Clark, if I could find my phone. I don't know if I could.
It is.
And funny. I'm just like neurotically feeding cake to Finn. And wait, let me hit my phone.
Yes.
And I just have this like glow in my face of just watching Finn like inhale this cake.
Pure glee.
And Finn's in a trance. It always makes for great podcast content when you reference a picture that no one can see.
No, it is really great though.
Oh, here it is. Okay, check this out. I'm gonna hold it up to my camera. Clark, can you see this?
This is great.
Oh, that's a great photo.
You are happy. You're really happy.
You look so happy.
I'm disturbed looking too.
I think I should be a feeder.
Oh God, that's a fetish I don't know very little about, actually. It's one of the few, like, I think it's just because I have such a weird relationship with food, so I'm just like, feeders, no, I like to starve myself to be pretty and stuff like that. I don't handle, like, being force-fed stuff.
Well, I would really take a lot of pleasure in fattening you up. And I think ultimately it's because it makes me feel better about myself if I, like, make other people fat. We actually have an interesting audience question about food. Later in the podcast, so we're gonna get into it. So anyway, before we take a deep dive into everything, Finn, what's new with you? What's going on?
Well, I'm still playing catch up with work from being out in January, but like writing deadlines and several different projects, client work, a lot of stuff. I'm keeping the tread going. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Work harder. Work hard.
Yes, I will work harder. Yes. I'm taking a writing class, so that's really fun. That's for me. That's like it's like a Tuesday evening, like barely can stay awake because it's done at 9:30, but it's really fun. It's called The Lab, and it's just like a generative writing class, and it's really fun. It's like
someday when we're old, I mean, you're a really, really amazing writer, and what people see, you know, are these finished videos, but what they don't necessarily see is like the script that you wrote behind it. I think sometimes we release like at least parts of it. But I think when we're like old and like dying or something, we can like release like like these memoirs and all these volumes of like and also like our like, I mean, they have like accompanying like artwork with them. Like they're really, there's references to like Shakespeare.
yes. I'm referencing things a lot. Like, oh, actually, you know what? Speaking of writing, I did go to a book signing this last Friday night for my favorite memoir writer, Lydia Yuknovich, and she was in town. She has a new book out. I've talked about it on here before. She had Chronology of Water, and I freaked the fuck out about that. But Verge just came out, and it's so good. So I could like hug her and see her again.
Shout out to Lydia
Yuknovich.
Yeah,
she
if you're listening.
changed my life. Yeah. She really did. Like the Chronology of Water, like was one of these books that just like I felt stuck in life in a certain kind of way, and reading this book pulled the plug, and like I don't know, it was awesome.
Yeah. Clark, did you read the concepts for France?
Yes, it was a lot of heavy reading, like a lot of just like, oh, I get an email through just saying, hey, here's the concept. Like, oh, I've done the shoots before. It's like one line, you're threesome with X, you're bottoming, he's topping. That's the concepts I normally get. And I got sent through Finn's one, and it was like, I think 30 pages. It's just pure text. Which was great to read.
Yeah, and it's very dense. Like there's footnotes and chapters, and
it's fun. I like to weave many layers of our experience, because those experiences are like, I feel like when we're having sex, all that's happening anyway. It's, are you tuning into it? Can you feel it? Everything you've ever experienced comes through in your experiences of pleasure, and yeah.
But not everyone has the ability to like grab that and write it and do it in such like, it's almost like poetry. You really do have a talent. So I'm glad that you're developing it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it really makes you feel good.
So I'm doing well, everyone. Thanks for asking. My mom and my aunt were in town.
You're looking buff.
Yeah, I got the tank top. It's warming up in Palm Springs. It's like set in the 70s. So thank you. My mom and aunt were in town last week, and as someone who's very like introverted, I don't think I realized like how much I love them, and it was amazing having them here, but I don't think I realized how much they were draining on me until we were recording this podcast last week, and like halfway through, or maybe like towards the end, I was just like, wow, like I don't have any words left. like I'm just totally burnt out. So yeah, so they left like 5 days ago, and I feel revived. I feel rejuvenated, emotionally rejuvenated, spiritually rejuvenated, vaginally rejuvenated.
I was hoping your mom would make it onto the podcast.
I really thought about it.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I thought about having her answer some like audience questions, her and my aunt, because like my mom's my bookkeeper. She knows what I do. Right. She just gives horrible advice. So it really would be funny to see what she has to say. I'd probably have to edit it heavily because it may be offensive. She has a theory about like that she likes to share about lesbians only being lesbians because they're too ugly to get men.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, Mom, so does that mean like I'm too ugly to get a woman? That's why I'm gay? And she's like, well, no, it's different for gay guys. And also, she like thinks that every lesbian like looks like Rosie O'Donnell. She doesn't realize.
Oh my God, she has no idea.
No idea. No idea.
I really want her on the podcast now.
Yeah.
Just unfiltered, unedited. Just let her go.
It may be the last thing that I do, because I think
I know so many hot dykes in San Francisco.
Oh my God.
Totally. So I'm like, what? I mean, I'm a gay man, but like I'm totally mesmerized by you.
But my mom doesn't notice them because she perceives them as straight. She only notices the lesbians that are like the butcher lesbians, which like, you know, it's like this kind of reinforcing cycle. So Anyway, my question for you guys is: you are both partnered. What are you guys doing for Valentine's Day?
So before this started, I actually was at the shops because I completely forgot about Valentine's Day. So I had to run and get like gifts and stuff. I got chocolate and alcohol and cards and stuff like that because I'm married 2 years now. So it's sort of
It's very traditional.
I know.
Yeah.
I like that sort of. I kind of grew up watching old movies and stuff. So that sort of romantic Valentine's Day thing. Even though it's very commercialized, I still weirdly care about it a lot. So I still do the whole cards and chocolate and booze.
And do you put like the chocolates and the wine bottles up your butt? And
Oh yeah, that's the only way you eat it, really.
part of the process. Yeah, I just figured your Valentine's Day would be like super kinky and like.
No, but we're going to the movies tomorrow, and that's it. I'm kinky in every regard except for like actual romantic things. I'm quite boring.
Like balance, right? You're like, I'm like in kink all day. I kind of need something a little more predictable in this moment.
Yeah. Like next to me now, I have my Valentine's Day gifts and also a chastity belt. So it's sort of yin and yang.
I hear that. Yeah. You know, it's so funny. I mean, I definitely like sometimes like I talk about sex all day with my clients, or I'm like reading about it, like studying about it from very different facets, like treating, sex issues on like everything, like fantasy, doing this writing. So then when I come home, I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about sex. There's people really like, I'll see somebody at a social event and they want to talk about it. I'm like, talk about something else.
Anything else, please.
Because especially if it's like, well, what do you think about such and such? So it's like shifting into like advice or something. And I'm like, no, here's my card.
Well, what are your plans? What are you doing for Valentine's Day then?
Well, I hope he doesn't like listen to this podcast tomorrow before.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I doubt that he is. I'll gamble on it.
Well, you could say, spoiler, if you are listening right now.
Right.
Stop.
Yeah.
Right. If you are listening right, in which he won't, he's a total like violation of prohibition boy. I'm gonna recreate our first date. Like we like our first like really emotionally connected date, I should say. We went to this hill around San Francisco area, and it was at sunrise, and we like had hot tea and we were listening to music and we just watched the sunrise together. And so we're both morning boys, and I'm gonna take him out there on Sunday morning, not Valentine's Day, because he's actually out of town. He's coming in late tomorrow night.
He's coming in just temporarily then? Because because he's still.
Yeah, he'll be away till mid-March. He's coming into town really briefly he's an assistant for a Hakomi method therapy program. So he's coming into work anyway. I'm going to barely see him, but we're going to have some time together in the mornings.
Nice. Oh, that'll be really sweet.
It does sound really sweet.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice. Part of me is like, I don't know. It's just like another commercial holiday, but then, well, for example, Himeros.tv is having a Valentine's Day fuck yourself sale. But the other part of me is also like, there's so many problematic holidays. Like in the US, we have Columbus Day, we have Thanksgiving. I feel like even fucking like Donald Trump has ruined like July 4th for me. Like I don't even like patriotism has been like has been ruined. So, but Valentine's Day is a holiday about love. It's about like celebrating love, and I don't know. I just like in a world that like the emails that we get, the phone calls that we get, like it's just so obvious that this is a world that's so hungry for love, hungry for connection. I think anything that celebrates love is worth kind of getting a little excited about. And I don't know, like it's great that you guys have a partner. I don't. Like there's a guy that I've kind of been seeing a bit in Palm Springs, but we can save that for another conversation. I don't know how much I want to get into that. But I remember,
I totally want to hear it.
I want to hear it too.
Okay, in a little bit. I just remember when I was in high school. I'm trying to avoid it.
He totally wants to talk about it.
I remember in high school, because I went to Catholic high school, we learned about like the 3 different types of love. I think they call it like the 3 different types of Greek love. So it was like eros, which is erotic love, agape, which is love of God, maybe. And then there was like philios, or I don't know. It was like the love of friends,
brotherly
love. Yeah. I'm sure I'm butchering all this, but there was a 4th type of love, which they really like frowned upon. And I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the Greek name, but it was basically self-love. and because that can have like a selfish expression of self-love, like the desire for fame and fortune and all that. But it also, the flip side of that was that it doesn't need to be a selfish thing. It can be this like healthy love that we have for ourselves. And and self-love, like Lord knows, comes from like doing work on ourselves and personal growth and learning to love the parts of ourselves that are sometimes really difficult to love. Like for me, it's looking into the mirror and seeing the fat kid that we already referenced and that I haven't made peace with and who keeps haunting my dreams at night while I sleep. And like, no matter, I don't know, it's like no matter how many likes you get on Instagram or how many big dicks you take, and believe me, I've tried both techniques.
What if you're a total top?
That doesn't even help. How many holes you stretch, it ain't gonna help. So I don't know, just all of us, regardless of who is or isn't in our lives, I think we all have someone to love on Valentine's Day, and that's ourselves. So
definitely,
yeah. And I feel like I've always been a little like, what's the word, around Valentine's Day, it's like this like one big day that's supposed to be this big deal and like really mean something, where I do know a lot of couples that like, they could really benefit from like a lot of skills like in their daily lives to help each other feel valued and appreciated. So this one day, it's like, oh, great, so you spent a lot of money on me for dinner or something, but like, what about how you communicate with me every day? Or, real skills where I've always just felt like, well, the one day is an emblematic kind of thing. But yeah, like just showing up as your best self. And then even too, like, if you're single, like really embodying the spirit of it and like being a lover and what that means, I think, besides it being like, oh, well, I don't have a boyfriend, I can't,
It's going to be ultimately like what you make it to be. So
yeah.
Having said that, for Valentine's Day, I'm going to host a bareback gangbang. No.
Yes, like a pop up Valentine's Day gangbang.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm doing after the movies with my
husband. You
should
host a gangbang.
That's what you're doing after the movies.
Yeah.
Well, who's getting gangbanged, you or your husband?
Oh, definitely me. Definitely. He's total top.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, there you go. That's our Valentine. So I didn't mean to like avoid the question of the guy that I've been seeing. I've been trying to figure out like how I want to navigate talking about it, because it feels kind of like, it's like it's been going on for a couple months and it still feels very fresh and fragile. And but I've been seeing him for a few months. By the way, he's 31. I have been true to my word. He's not a little twink. And for Valentine's Day, which is a new chapter for me, believe me. We're going on I think like a bike ride, maybe hang out in the hot tub. There's Modernism Week next week in Palm Springs, and they have this app where you can do a bike route of all the architecturally interesting homes in Palm Springs.
Oh,
works. So that's
cool. That's totally cool.
That's what's fun for us rather than some fancy dinner. All right. So a few housekeeping items. If you guys haven't already, check out my YouTube video. It went up last Friday about experiencing better masturbation with a bunch of tips from Dr. Jalen Ricks. Also, October 13th through 18th at Easton Mountain, upstate New York, is our in-person retreat. You can meet me, most likely Finn, and some other of your favorite coaches from Himeros.tv. And well, best of all, you'll also meet the awesome men in the Himeros.tv community. And I've been following the ticket sales, and based on where guys are coming from, I think it looks like pretty much everyone is flying into the Albany airport to attend. So it's going to be a really cool group of people from across the country, actually across the world. So tickets are currently on sale, but our early bird special is ending soon. Each day during the retreat, there's going to be workshops and really good food. It's all around going to be a great experience. If you're interested, use promo code EARLYBIRDS, all one word, on the ticketing page. You just have to go to Himeros.tv and click. There's like a more tab at the top, and then you'll see like a button that says events. I know it's not like the most intuitive, but if you're interested, you can find it, and you can save $100 with the early bird discount code. Also on YouTube on Monday, Clark, I'm going to be uploading the video that we did in France, where you gave basically a tour of your chastity belt. Did I send a link of it to you?
You haven't. No.
Oh.
I want to see it too.
I was gonna send it to you guys. I was like, oh, they don't want like another thing to watch from me before this podcast.
I love watching things.
Okay, well, especially things that feature you. So
I'm just like, look how cute I look. Oh, so nice. I'd do me. It's great.
It's such a fun video. It's like 5 or 6 minutes long, and it's basically a tour of the chastity belt that we're going to be talking about today. And it reminds me of a lot of the kind of like nerdy tech videos that like there's a channel called Tested that I really like, and they do like 1-day builds. And like I can just listen to someone talk about anything for hours as long as they're passionate about that thing. So I think it's a really cute video watching you talk about your belt.
I love it too. Like seeing somebody really excited and passionate about something is inspiring, right? Even if you're not into what it is for yourself, it's inspiring to see somebody else being lit up about something, I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And you light up about that belt.
I love the belt so much.
It's really majestic.
it's just so unique. I'm like I have it next to me at the moment. It's like, it just looks just so special.
What do you do with it when you're not wearing it?
I have it. So we've been.
What the laughter?
Because we've been. So I run a 3D printing company, and we have Comic-Con coming up. So we've been like using all our spare surfaces to put miniatures on it. So I've had the belt on our coffee table, and I completely forgot that the belt was on the coffee table when my husband's parents came over. So they walked in. I said it was a cosplay thing. I don't think they believed me. But I had to. So I leave sex toys just all laying all around the house. I generally don't care about that stuff. And normally I'm like, because it looks like an antique. I forgot that it was a sex toy. So when I had it on my table, when I was picking up like the lube and condoms, it's like, oh, that's not a sex toy. That looks too nice to be a sex toy. So I just left it there, and so I just look at it when I'm not wearing it. I'm just like, oh, that's mine.
Do you wear it?
I've worn it a few times since. So I didn't want to wear it before the video came out, because I didn't want to accidentally post pictures of it.
Right.
So once the videos came out, I've been wearing it a lot. And I remember how cold that belt is, because it's pure steel. So I went out to take some photos in the woods. So I live by the woods. And I want to take some outdoor photos of me wearing it.
In the woods?
Yep. And this was, so the UK just had a big storm, and that was not the right time to wear that belt. I slipped over in the mud, and I spent ages just getting mud out of the belt.
Oh, wow.
Well, it just adds to the authenticity if it's a little bit more tarnished.
Like a peasant boy running through the countryside.
Yeah. And I think like if my mom saw that on a table, would she realize it's a sex toy? And I think the only thing that kind of gives it away is that the cage is like dick shaped.
Very phallic. Yeah, it's very phallic.
Yeah, because otherwise it does look like a piece of armor, and like maybe you 3D printed it and painted it or something to look metallic.
I want to see you like test this again on your mom, like show her a series of sex toys that are really obscure looking and see if she can identify what they are.
Could I text her a picture of it and be like, what do you think this is?
Yes. And then hopefully she answers back within the hour.
She will. She's always on her phone. Let me try to find. I'm gonna try to find a good picture. All right, someone else talk while I dig this up.
Yeah, Clark, do you wear it? Do you wear it to play in, or have you since the video, or is
I've
it just
been
for
really wanting to wear it to play in, because I travel when I do kink events. I travel a lot to it, and the downside to the belt is that it's so heavy. So I'll travel from. I live in Coventry in the Midlands in the UK. I travel to Manchester where a lot of kink events happen. And it's a 2-hour train ride, so actually packing the belt is a lot of effort. But I think the next kink event I go to, which will be Sunday. I'm going to a kink event on Sunday. Yes, I am. I'm going to be wearing it because that's actual local kink event. It's a Birmingham kink event where it's like it's mainly a heterosexual above clothes kink event. So it's no nudity allowed. but it's all about impact play and shibari and stuff like that. It's quite fun to go to. So I might take that to it just to show it off because I like showing it off to people.
Will you wear it like above your underwear or something then? Like
I've
kind of
tried
what
to
you
wear
did in the YouTube video?
I've tried to wear above clothes and it doesn't really work because of the dick tube. And because it's pure steel, you can't really mold it, like push it in.
Yeah. Right.
But no, I just kind of have hands like, look, it's pretty.
Like a software.
My mom is confused.
Oh my god! I hope did she answer?
Yeah, I said, "What do you think this is?" She goes, "No clue." And I said, "Your best guess." So we'll see what she says.
Yeah. I'm not sure what you would think the belt was if you didn't know what chastity was. Like if you just saw it on a shelf, like what would you think it was for before sex?
Well, we also haven't defined for the viewers what a chastity belt is. So there's probably there's probably a lot of confused listeners.
I think it's obviously something sexual though, because it does have like a like an obvious like hip crotch like shape that you would see on anything, like a superhero belt or like underwear, like briefs, or like it has like a
kinky Batman.
Unless I don't know, Davey's mom may not see that, but I feel like it's.
She said something sexual, obviously, and then she goes, "A chastity belt."
Oh.
I go, "Oh my god, how did you know that?"
She winks because she has one.
Yeah.
She goes, "It looks like mine." No.
She's like, "Oh, honey, your father has one that's solid gold."
Yeah. She goes, "I'm so with it." That's what she wrote. So a chastity belt, for people who are listening who don't know what they are, it's basically a device that you has like a cage for your dick and a lock. And whoever has the key, they kind of can lock your dick into it, and you're not really able to pleasure yourself or jerk off or have sex with your dick until they unlock it. And the one that we have, if you go to my Instagram, you can see some pictures of it. It's metal and it's big. It sits around your waist. There's like a whole apparatus, but they can also be much smaller. I think most of them just kind of fit around your dick, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between a chastity belt and a chastity cage. Things that just go around your dick is called a cage. This is actually a belt, so it actually goes around your waist that attaches to a metal cage. So it's an actual belt versus just the cage bit.
I feel like my mom actually knows what it is because she follows my Instagram, and I probably mentioned it. She probably still doesn't know what a chastity belt is.
I know. She's like asking your dad, "What's chastity, though?"
She's Catholic. She knows what chastity is. She just.
Oh no, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this video. The video is called Denial. It features Clark, obviously. Also, JP Dubois and Alex Foe are in it. Who's the mystery man in the video? Like, who's the master? Was that you, Finn?
Yes.
Was it really?
You're not asking the question because you don't remember.
I wasn't there when that scene was filmed.
I thought that was one of those like questions, like someone has an answer for this. Yeah, that was me.
Yes, it was Finn. It was very weird because I was just like, we spend the past couple of days sort of talking, and so like, and now he's putting me in a chastity belt and putting it onto it. I'm like, I don't see you like this.
Do you feel like a boundary was crossed?
Well, yeah. I mean, I said, yeah. I didn't want my face in the video. I don't. Yeah, it's like a brand crossing. But also, I just kind of didn't want to. I don't know how. I've never done that, so I didn't want to like hurt you, and I was kind of like afraid of the cage.
That's
right. Or like if we have like an ouch moment and there's blood, I don't really know how to deal with that. So, but yeah, mystery man. There we go. Revealed.
Yeah, I thought it was you because like, you're wearing like leather gloves, which I think are the gloves you work out in. Maybe?
No, they are not workout gloves. They are fashion gloves. They're like fingerless leather fashion gloves. Yeah, they're like Madonna gloves. Okay.
We're blowing up all your spots.
I know.
Yeah, I was trying to
by a local designer. They're really amazing.
Yeah, they're really cute. I was trying to figure out. I was like, oh, okay, this must be Finn's hands? Question mark. I don't know. You guys can watch a free preview of the video on Himeros.tv. Basically, the synopsis is it opens up with Clark being put into his chastity belt, and then the master invites these two virile young men into the room to have sex in front of him, and Clark, you're kind of just like helpless to just look on and watch them suck and fuck. And at one point they even start like fucking right over you. They kind of like bring you down onto the floor just to rub it in your face. I suppose I should back up. Finn, do you remember what started us on this journey? This journey of discovery?
We both have like really abusive religious background.
Who doesn't?
That was a part of it, but there was a specific question.
No, I know. There was a viewer that asked about it, that wanted to see Chastity.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, so we knew that. And then once we started talking about this particular project, as the concepts were coming, it just made sense in like the period as well, the medieval nature of that, Velt, and just the concepts themselves psychologically. When I was organizing them, it just made sense to do it. And I thought, yes, let's fucking do it.
What did you feel like you were trying to like tap into when you were putting the concept together?
Yeah, and actually I want to answer this, and I actually want to like bounce it off Clark too, because he participates in it. Because this is not something I actually participate in myself in this particular way, but I do think like something very exquisite about wine. And I mean, it's like really, even statistically, it's like a lot of people, the desire piece, once it's fulfilled, they're less satisfied as they were once they were actually wanting. So sometimes that can just be like what it is about, is just the experience of desire. So I like to play with that in my own life, in my own way, when, you know, like coming off the table, not letting myself do certain things just for fun. But this was like a way to really do that in a dramatic kind of way that I'd never done before. And I thought it was really, and then once we found out that Clark was into it, it just made sense to play with the idea. But yeah, it's to encourage people to experiment with non-fulfillment as a way of being fulfilled.
So then, bouncing it off of Clark, what were you trying to tap into, or maybe what's your experience been with Chastity?
So I've been a part of sort of the kink community since I was about 18. I've done Chastity before. I've never actually been able to find a proper, like, I've always wanted to really try and go full into Chastity, but I've never been able to find a belt which I could actually wear, which is comfortable, because they're always quite a bit small. So this was sort of, when I heard that this was I'm going to get a custom fitted Chastity belt, like my eyes lit up. I was just so excited to finally be able to fulfill this fantasy of being able to be in Chastity properly. Like I've done it before, and I've only been in it for like 45 minutes, an hour before it hurts too much. I've got to take it off.
So reading between the lines, what you're saying is your dick is too big for...
Oh yeah, I was trying to subtly say that my dick is too big for most Chastity belts, yes.
Yeah. and I did buy, because so you made the suggestion of us reaching out to behindbars.co.uk, which is the company that created this. I had already, I think, ordered a like dragon shaped Chastity belt, I think from Etsy. Actually, it wasn't a belt, it was a cage. And in hindsight, I mean, I brought it to the shoot. I don't think it would have fit you.
No, I tried to put it on. It wouldn't fit me.
Yeah.
No, there was no chance. I don't think anyone at the shoot could have put that on. It was quite small.
Big dick problems.
Oh, I know. Such a hard life we have.
No pun intended. So you were like, oh, we should reach out to Behind Bars. And I went to their website, and they do these like bespoke, custom, beautiful Chastity belts. But first of all, they take a long time to make, which is fine, because we're like, I'm already planning our shoots for like November of this year. We literally have someone that's like planting a cornfield for one of our shoots in the fall. So like time is fine.
Cool.
I didn't write that one.
No. But also like they're really, really pricey, because they're doing it's craftsmanship. It's like yeah. Like how much
I went to their workshop, and yeah, these are all crafted by hand by a father-son team, which
wait, I'm confused.
Yeah. So the people who make Behind Bars people, it's a guy and also person who also works on the belts is his father. His I don't want to say elderly father, but his older father.
Wow.
So I just figured it was like a bunch of gay guys that were making these things.
None of them are gay. No one who works in behind bars. Well, from the people I met, they're all straight, and they're very interested in sort of like the gay community because of how much they've like embraced it and embraced them as a company, where they are not experiencing the gay community personally as being a bunch of straight guys working on penis belts, which must be a very weird father-son relationship to have.
Yeah, I'm like, these guys need to be on the podcast.
Well, how old are they? How old are they? I mean, I was actually thinking what a beautiful thing, to be open about. So it doesn't mean like they're like, I don't know, just being really open about eroticism in a creative kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to guess their age because I'm bad with doing that, and I'll probably offend them greatly.
The son is like past the teens.
Oh yeah, the son's the son has a son as well.
Okay, well,
who also works in the workshop.
I mean, I've always really lamented. I mean, I'm projecting my own experience, but lamented that I can't even talk to my dad about sex at all. Period.
And here we have 3 generations of this family
working on dick belts.
Yeah, and I guess probably I forget that straight people exist oftentimes, especially living in Palm Springs. They're not part of my consciousness. And I guess probably a good percentage of their clientele is probably straight, and then of course there are gay guys that I wonder what the breakdown is. Is it like 50-50? Is it 70-30?
It would be interesting to find out what that number is, or I wouldn't think straight. I don't see, for some reason in my mind, I can't put chastity and like heterosexual men together. But it definitely happens. I've seen it happen. I'll go to straight kink events and it happens.
And it's juicier if it happens. It's so subversive. Like if it's like a woman that's got the key to your dick, like that's more interesting than like a guy.
Oh yeah, female doms are so just intense and amazing to be around. Like just when you walk into a room and there's like a full-on dom woman, it's just like they just change the atmosphere in the room. They just command your presence and submission. You're like, I'm not into you, but at the same time, I'm scared of you, and I want you to shout at me.
I think the world needs that shit right now.
Oh, definitely.
I actually think like it must be such an experience of just like a power for women to be in that space, and the projections on women too, but for her to be in that, like for other women as well, kind of like, don't worry, I got this. and guys to be really just like submissive to that. And I love it.
I sent the guys at Behind Bars the video, so they saw it. Like they saw Denial, the full length. I mean, I just assumed I was sending this to a bunch of gay guys. So
no, they're straight.
So them and their dad, like I don't know, they're all just.
And could just like again sing praises for Ed and like the way he films and his editing. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so Ed's the director that worked on it. He was, I mean, for this particular project, he was director, cinematographer, and editor. He was wearing a lot of hats, and he really puts his heart into everything that. We'll have him on at some point. We have to have him on.
Totally, we got to. His accent, he's so cute.
Yeah, he's lovely, and he's just so carefree. Like he and then maybe that's not even where he just goes with the flow. Like stuff always comes up on shoots, and he's just so game to kind of organically roll with whatever is unfolding. So you have your belt handy?
Yes, I do.
Obviously in the YouTube video, you really get into details, but are there any features that you can kind of show us or talk about on the podcast a little bit?
One of the features which I found out when trying to wear it is I wanted to clean the house while wearing it for my husband as sort of like kink sort of thing. It's actually very noisy because of. So I've grabbed about here. You can hear the jingle jangle of the metal lock smashing into the cage.
Sounds like you have a pocket full of change, of coins.
Yeah, it does. And so like you lean over and then like your entire weight sort of goes with it. I weigh like 7 stone, and this belt probably weighs half of my weight. So when I like lean over, I sort of like go with the belt. which it really makes you feel like the belt has control over you more so than like a normal chastity. It feels like it's such a part of your body at that point that you move with the belt, and you don't move the belt moves you.
You lost me at 7 stone. Like, what the hell? I'm gonna ask Google.
I love it.
Hey Siri, convert 7 stones to pounds.
98 pounds.
98 pounds. That's
Yeah,
like how much
I'm
my
quite-
like tit weighs.
You're not,
like, a
you
single
weigh more
tit.
than that.
Oh no, I got measured recently. Coming to the doctors recently, and they said because my mum weighs 6 stone, so she weighs less than me.
Wow.
It's a sort of a genital thing where like for me and my mum, we both weigh basically nothing, but all my siblings took after their father, who's a lot bigger and they're a lot bigger people. So my sister especially hates me for taking my mum's genes of being just like, I eat a lot, I try to put on weight and I just can't. And she hates it because I'm there eating like takeaways and McDonald's, and she's just like looking at me and is like, I hate you.
And how tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Wow. All right, get it, girl.
I want to know how much I weigh in stone. I'm gonna look it up later.
Yeah, how many stones are you? Like, it's such a weird unit of measurement, but like a stone.
Pounds is bizarre because that's our money. So I'm like,
Right.
I'm only worth like 99 pounds. Like
98.
98. Oh, sorry.
Speaking of money, how much do you think this chastity belt would have cost?
Oh God! So for belts, the belts they sell are expensive because they are custom made by hand. And I think when I looked at the site, looking at the normal belts, which are a lot more, they're less detailed, and they're like
Right.
they're made with a more flexible steel because they look more modern than the belt we got.
Right.
The belts
We
they
wanted something
designed-
medieval.
Yeah, their default designs are very kind of drone-ish and like sci-fi, and very like sleek metal. And I think they cost like between like 500 to like 800 pounds, which is like some amount of dollars.
Yeah, like $1,000 or something. I think I emailed them because I was curious what the actual number was. They haven't gone back to me yet. But I'm gonna guess that a belt that's like this custom would probably be somewhere around like $2,000, $2,000. The YouTube video that I'm creating, I might call it, because you have to hit the YouTube keywords. So it'll start with gay porn star, and then I think wears or models world's most expensive chastity belt.
that will get the clicks. That will get the views.
And it may not be wrong. It may $2,000 may be like. Is there a more expensive chastity belt in the world? I don't know.
I haven't seen one.
There has to be something that's like made out of other metals, yeah, like gold or something.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. Have I mentioned this before? I actually know someone who has this is like so stupid, a $1 million cock ring. Have I ever mentioned this?
I think you did a long time ago, but that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know if I've talked about diamonds. Technically, he has 2. He had a second one that was made for his ex-boyfriend. And
wow,
can you imagine like walking into a jewelry shop and being like, I want $1 million in diamonds for my cock and another million for his cock. like,
yeah. And the children who died producing these diamonds.
Yeah. This was like 15 years ago. And I don't know if like in my mind's memory, I remember seeing it. Like, I think he showed it to me. I don't know if he just talked about it or if I saw it, but I remember like in my mind, I remember seeing it. And like people always just talk about like fuck you money, like having fuck you money. This is literally fuck you money. Like, I am gonna fuck you with my money. With my money. $1 million of it.
I want to see it on.
Yeah, you should get him for a YouTube video and just sort of like show off this. Like that's
he would
a very
never. Yeah.
unique claim to have.
It was so the way I remember it, and of course this is the only way that it can be, to have $1 million in diamonds, was that it's just a thick like platinum cock ring with gigantic diamonds going all the way around the, all around it. What's the point of that? Because it's not like the diamonds don't make it functionally better. It's just like, fuck you, peasant people. I have $1 million on my dick.
It's the show off. it gives you that sort of power. Like there's like financial doms and financial subs who like entire sexuality is based around giving or being given money, and that is definitely top tier of like, I'm a financial dom. I will fuck you with my literal £1 million cock ring.
What if it stabs you as you're getting
That's
fucked by it?
like crevices for bacteria.
Yeah. I hope it poisons him and his dick falls off.
He's not one of your good friends.
No. So
he is.
So Clark, I want to hear. So have there been any adventures with your chastity belt?
Not well, apart from going into the woods where I got fucked, but that was during a storm, and all the photos didn't come out very well. So
who fucked you?
So I got a fuck buddy who lives nearby who has a really big dick, which is why I'm friends with him. And
I love the honesty. I've got a few of those too. Yeah. Clark, don't worry. we all do.
So he's big into like water sports and stuff like that. And originally I wanted to be wear chastity and then him to piss on me in the woods. We've done a few times. I find it incredibly hot, but I didn't want to, because it has actual leather around the belt. I didn't want to risk piss stain in it, to be frank. And so we just sort of ended up with just sort of like, I was over a fallen tree log and it was fucking me with it. And constantly, because of the lock, you could just hear bang, 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 because of the lock hitting the chastity cage. But it was so hot. I've never actually properly, like, I've done it before. I've like worn a chastity belt and been fucked, and then afterwards I took it off, jerked off, and come. Like, that's sort of the usual thing I do when I wear chastity. But this time I didn't take off, and I still haven't come since that encounter, which was 3-4 days ago. So I'm just sort of like edging myself, kind of just denying myself the ability to come, even though I really, really want to. Especially after that, it's just like, I'm just trying to test myself on how much I can deny myself an urge I so badly want to do, which is what chastity is all about.
And well, so I have a technical question and then a philosophical one. The technical one being like, so what happens to your dick when you start to get hard in the cage? Like, does it just not let you get hard?
You do get hard, and it does tend to hurt because you're basically trying to expand the balloon in a very tight spot. So it's sort of, but then you get into the mindset where it's not painful, it's uncomfortable, but then you learn to enjoy the uncomfortableness of it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so then question 2 is, what is fun for you in denying yourself and I'm not saying this like pointedly, or I'm just genuinely curious. What's fun about denying yourself the ability to come?
That's a hard question. It's like, it's sort of like I have this, like I have a super high sex drive, and I always have. And sort of, I feel like I'm like not giving into my own. So like at some points, I feel like I don't have control over like my own body because my sex drive is so high. But I'm like, I feel like I'll hook up with someone, not because I wanted to, but because my body was like, you need to hook up with someone. So I'm like a slave to my own sexuality and sex drive. So denying it is sort of giving myself ownership over myself, but at the same time, giving the key to someone else, it's fully submission. It's like saying, I want this so badly, but it's up to you. You get to choose whether or not I can come or not.
Well, in this figurative chastity belt that you're wearing now, you have the key to it. Like, you didn't give it to someone else. Like, because you're not literally wearing that belt.
Oh no, yeah. This is like my own sort of. I have like this inner, because I'm verse, and I'm also verse in the sense of I both dom and sub. I'm both dominant and submissive. So I sort of like have this inner battle between myself where I have this dominant side keeping my theoretical chastity key away from my submissive side, who really wants it. So it's sort of this sort of like a good and evil sort of battle going on inside.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, that's rich. It's like a little schizophrenic, but like really rich.
Oh, you know what I love about it is that, like, you're talking the language I just love to talk about this kind of stuff, or like hear men's experiences of inner life, because all that stuff that you're describing, you have a vocabulary to talk about what you're experiencing. You understand the nuances of some of the intersecting forces that make it hot for you. I mean, there's like a lot in that. And a lot of men are like, I don't know, I just like it, or whatever it is, so it's, but it doesn't mean that that's not there. I encourage guys to really figure it out. Like, it's because it's enriching to know that. And also just, as a child, like I know a lot of chastity is from people that I've talked to, it's like rooted in this, like I wasn't allowed to before, but now I'm the one in control of this dynamic. So it's overturning something that was painful when you're, like I wasn't allowed to, had a lot of shame, and now it's fun to play with that. And it's highly erotic whenever you can integrate it into your life as an adult.
So Finn, what do you think you could learn from this video? How could you apply it to your sex in your life? We ask this question every week. It's like, okay, like how we watch this. What's your takeaway?
I think because it's like a game. When I wrote that, a lot of the stuff from France, it had like this game kind of mentality, or like a sadistic element to it for me. The writer, about I think there's a number of ways you could do a chastity video or involve it, but I wanted there to be like this like dynamic in which Clark was not allowed to really it's like not actually taste it, but get really close to it and like want to. And so having that element of playing on some of like the thing I just mentioned about like childhood and denial for me. So that's how that showed up in my life. So let's say trying creative ways to bring out some of the dynamics inside myself even more, like dynamics that are there. Like obviously this is like from my mind, my fantasies, playing with those in my life and setting up experiments to see how it lands with me, I would say.
Yeah. I think if I had to kind of consider, a lot of the videos that we do are I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. That's something I want to try. I'm not sure. I'm intrigued by chastity, but not sure that I want to like experiment with it in my life. I think I enjoy sluttiness more than I enjoy chastity. Like I enjoy the flip side of that, which is like, I'm turned on by how many loads like I can get out of you rather than how many loads I can deny you, Like I want to milk your dick until it, not like you guys literally, but I just figuratively want to
like, oh,
dick, bro.
It's now officially Valentine's Day in England. So
yeah. I want to milk that dick until it's like shooting blanks,
It's like a really great thing to hear in high school. Like, bro, I just want to milk your dick.
I remember when I first learned how to jerk off, I had a sleepover with this guy and we jerked off like 7 times. Wow. We just like kept doing it until there was just like fucking dust coming out, and so like, I don't know, I'm turned on by like a slutty boy coming 10 times or like making him a whore and getting fucked by a bunch of guys. Like that's more my cup of tea. That's what blows my skirt up.
Well, I mean, those dynamics are like fascinating too. My next question is like, wow, okay, like how does it make you feel? What's underneath that? And can you reflect in Clark language about it?
Yeah. Like do I enjoy getting so many loads out of a guy? Because for me, it's like validating that like I am hot and I'm worthy and like all the things that I'm not getting from myself, I get through that type of validation, maybe.
Or just like, I wasn't thinking that. I was just wondering about something about being able to have as much as you want. Cause like gluttony, it's like just have more, eat it, but there's no consequence as much. It's like, I don't know. I'm just
maybe. I don't know. I think it's probably because I hate myself, but
we all do a little bit.
There was a really great comment that was on the site too. So someone wrote, "Oh my God, I loved it. Make him smell those pits." And I love being locked in a box after being all horned up. I'm doing some BDSM play this coming weekend. My top asked me if I ever wore a chastity cage. I never have, and can now say that I definitely want to. I want to be more involved than this scene. Kiss me, torture my tits, make my cock straight in that cage, and make me crazy with horniness. God, I love erotic energy. Keep the kinky stuff coming. Yeah. As my favorite t-shirt says, life is too short not to admit that you are into some kink.
I want that shirt. I need
Very
that shirt.
enthusiastic. I like it.
Seriously. All right, so let's answer some questions. If you guys have any questions or comments, send them to Davey at daveywavey.tv. Or what we really appreciate is if you call us. The phone number is, if it's outside the US, you do +1, but it's area code 612-470-5729. So, you're like, oh, I have a question or a comment. Take out your phone right now and dial 612-470-5729. And I know people are like nervous that someone's going to answer. No one's going to answer. It goes right to voicemail. Leave us your question. We'll ask it on air. Let me play the first one.
Hey, this is Alex from Boy Food from Boise, Idaho, which is known for the airport code BOI. But I wanted to reach out just because I'm so thankful for the podcast, and I have been curious about the intersectionality of sexuality and food. You know, you see Anthony from Queer Eye and the Peach scene from Call Me By Your Name. I'm hoping you guys can expand. Thanks so much.
Back to food.
Right.
Back to where we started.
God, I'm hungry.
Yeah, seriously.
Actually, yeah, I'm hungry. I would say, well, I have one perspective anyway, and that is, it's sex is in the senses, right? One of the most one of the foundational layers to our entire experience is the five senses, but we lose track of that because we, especially in nowadays, are in the head a lot and in response mode and technology. But senses are the grounding of our experience and of real tantric sex. So there's taste, and that goes right along with it. Plus, it's your pleasure and reward center in the brain, so you get excited about food, and you get a dopamine hit when I think they even have studies where people look at pictures of cupcakes and they get dopamine releases in the brain. So I mean, it's similar rewards and excitement, and people manage anxieties by eating and by having sex. It's kind of a similar strategy sometimes too. So there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, there's a neurotic element. Even at the beginning of this podcast, Clark said oh, I don't want to eat too much because I want to stay skinny and pretty or something. Right. Of course, you actually do eat whatever you want and you stay skinny regardless. But I don't know, especially as a former fat kid, no matter how much weight you lose, you're still always kind of that fat kid. That fat kid's always there, and food becomes this balancing game of the story that I tell myself is the more food that I eat, the fatter I'm going to get, and the less attractive I will be to others. And what do I offer the world if not this pile of well-toned muscles? What else do I have to offer? There couldn't possibly be anything more that I bring to the table than my body. And so I think there's this there's a lot of layers to I think the intersection of food and sexuality, and I think some of them fall kind of into that neurotic body image, body dysmorphic disorder realm.
Do you really feel that way though, in all parts of yourself, or are you shifting that too? Are you really same boat?
That that's kind of the work that I'm doing now, is because it takes a lot of forms. I hide behind my muscles, I hide behind my body, I hide behind the material things that I'm able to offer, especially in dating younger guys. In the past, I can almost hide behind oh, let's go to Hong Kong for spring break, and hide behind all these shiny things that I can do for you. And it almost makes a person I think there's a dependence that has formed in some of my previous relationships that I found comfort in, because regardless of if the person wants me, they need me. If they want to maintain a certain lifestyle or a certain comfortability, or and so that gives me control, and what I've been leaning into is not leading with those things, leading with myself, and finding someone that wants me not because I take them to Hong Kong, but because
you're funny.
Because I'm me.
Fun to be with.
Haven't found that person yet, but no, I'm kidding. Clark, do you have any insight into food and sexuality?
Well, food and sex have a very close link in biology because things like chocolate release these chemicals called P chemicals, which have a very long name. Phentylentylamine, which I
Did you write that down?
No, I had
You're
a
just
few
smart.
things. Well, I read. That's about it. But yeah, that releases like basically dopamine hits, which is the same stuff you get when you have an orgasm, sex, or any sort of high. So they're in a very biological, functional state. Food and sex are very closely linked, which is why people like feeders, for example, we mentioned before, stuff like that exists because of things like the dopamine hits we get when we consume things we like chocolate is a big used to be thought as an anesthesiac. Oh God, I can't pronounce words.
Aphrodisiac.
That's it. Yes.
There you go.
So much so that in the 1600s, I believe religious leaders banned religious people from actually consuming chocolate.
Wow.
Because it was such an aphrodisiac.
Wow.
Which is not. It does have some truth that it does release these P chemicals into you, but yeah. So the fact that people tend to put like whipped cream and sex and chocolate, like Valentine's Day, you bring out chocolate and alcohol and wine. These are all aphrodisiacs to induce you being in a more functional sexual mood,
and it's decadent.
Yeah, my Himeros.tv video would be me like laying on a. Do you know what a lazy Susan is, Clark? Do you have those in?
Yes, yeah, we do.
I'd just be laying on one of those, and someone would be putting pizza and cake into one end, and then in the other end, just these like big dicks. I'd just be getting, the girl in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that turns into like a giant blueberry. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like that's what.
What would you turn into, the pizza or the dick?
No, I would just turn into like a balloon. I would just become completely.
Okay.
So,
like the food associations and sex, they're always like chocolate, whipped cream. Like no one thinks like cruciferous vegetables. So, I mean, maybe they do. I don't like
pizza and sex is a great combination.
Cake.
Pizza and sex.
Oh, pizza and sex. Yeah, that's like my two favorite things, girl. All right, do we have time for one more question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so I've been listening to your show forever, and it's so insightful. I'm in my mid-30s, and I've focused a lot of my life on my career, and with that, I haven't really focused or had a lot of experience with dating. And as I'm now in really comfortable with my career, I'm wanting to explore dating, but I feel like I've kind of missed the boat with exploring and intimacy with different guys, or just being really more open. And you get that experience normally as you date when you're younger. And I just wanted to get your guys' advice on someone who's in their mid-30s, where people that I'm wanting to date along my same age range have already gone through these. And I know a lot of it is how I probably feel inside, but I wanted to see what tips and tricks you guys had.
Finn is shaking his head.
Well, because I just feel like things have gotten for me exponentially better the older I've gotten. Like when I was younger, I didn't have a fucking clue, and you're focusing on your career. That was what was up for you. Now it's up for you to date. So I'd say trust yourself, and you're in a great position for it because you're more clear. A lot of people date and get in relationships and get married and all kinds of stuff before they even really know what they want in the first place. And they just because people are rifling through dating partners doesn't mean they're really having fun or learning anything about themselves. So, and I know a lot of guys that have said point blank to me, it gets better the older I get. So I believe it.
He's also, his question reflects a level of self-awareness that makes me think he's going to be okay.
Totally.
He's going into it knowing that there's a lot that he doesn't know. And also, let's be clear. I know a lot of 30-something-year-olds who have dated a ton and who haven't learned shit.
And I hear a vulnerability. He's kind of, he sounds vulnerable, basically hearing underneath that, I feel nervous and maybe fear of rejection or not doing it right or quote unquote, but you're in a good space.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Clark?
Unfortunately, this was a question which was how do you like date in your 30s when I married my first boyfriend and I'm only 24, so I don't really have that.
Yeah, you don't have any insight.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like I've never dated anyone really at all.
Well, I will say listening to this podcast is a good start. And I've always wondered if you can like learn from the experience of others, or if people really just truly need to like make the mistakes themselves. And I think it's probably like a 95-5 split. Like 5% of the world can learn without making the mistakes, and that's the percent that kind of helps us evolve. Like they keep society moving forward. But I think for 95% of people, you just have to go through the trenches and learn it for yourself. So maybe get a good therapist.
Always.
Yeah.
It's like the answer every time.
Okay. So, well, this was a lovely conversation. Next week, we're going to be discussing Mask for Mask. And Matt should also be back. He'll be done traveling. Clark, where can people find more of you other than Himeros.tv?
Obviously, Twitter, Clark Lewis XXX is my Twitter handle. There's no E in Clark. For some reason, Americans put an E in Clark. I'm not sure why, but
we do a lot of things.
Oh my God.
And
that I'm not sure about.
Also, OnlyFans. I have one of those, like everyone else does, and that's Bottomologist. So those are my two sort of places you can talk to me and see more of me.
Are you still keeping up with your blog too? Your sex toy review blog?
I am. So I'm actually going to a sex toy. So UK has a sex toy convention, which I'm going to in 2 weeks, and I plan on getting a lot of content out for that, which will be fun. I'm interviewing a few people who work in the industry actually making toys and stuff like that. So that's going to be exciting. That is also for bottomologist.com.
Nice. And Finn, where can people get more of you?
FinnDeerhart.com, FinnDeerhart.com, and Instagram.
And also know that this is the final stretch of our Fuck Yourself sale. So go to himeros.tv/love to buy 3 months, get 3 months free. And we would love to have you join the Himeros.tv community. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to everyone at home for listening. And as always, more to come.